Well, Russia's president is reportedly fuming that his invasion of Ukraine hasn't been so easy, according to a member of the European Union Parliament. Vladimir Putin has 10 days to end the conflict or be forced into negotiations, apparently. Well, joining us now is political analyst and professor at Curtin University, Joe Siracusa. Joe, despite the bravery of Ukrainian forces, we've had an update from Kiev. Its mayor says that the city is basically encircled, so there's no way out for anybody who wants to. There does still seem to be an inevitability about all of this.
Oh, there's no chance Ukraine is going to win this one. The Russians have been slowed down. President Putin, of course, thought that defeatism and confusion on the ground would allow him to get in, but a lot of nations always miscalculate. Pete, this is moving very, very quickly. Last week, Ukraine had been hung out to dry by the European Union and NATO. And this week, NATO is going to underwrite the war. It's going to replace all the equipment. It's going to bring it through Poland. And in short, what Putin has right now, he's at war with Europe as far as he's concerned. And just to prove the point, how dangerous he is, he's put his nuclear weapons on alert. Now, for those who don't know much about this, what that means is they're on 15-minute alert. Only needs 15 minutes to get these things going in the direction he wants them to go. They're all programmed, as a matter of fact. And at this, and of course, at this very time here, Zelensky is going to meet some folks on the border of Belarus for negotiations. Now, these negotiations are very tentative. I don't know how much is going to come of it, but I think this is Zelensky's last chance to try to do something about this. And keep in mind, Pete, that I am sure that since day one, the order to catch and kill Zelensky is number one for the Russian military forces. They get a hold of this guy and get rid of him, and that's what they're going to try to do. I think the morale in Ukraine would collapse. So it's very important to keep him alive, or at least get him to someplace safe if the going gets bad. But look, this is moving very quickly, and I think we're in a place we've never been before. We got a 21st century power, which tried an 18th century land grab, which has so far been successful. And we haven't done much about it, since Crimea in 2014. So in a way, everything's coming home to roost. And you will notice the last couple of days that while the European Union has all kinds of speakers and NATO has all kinds of speakers on the airwaves, we're not seeing much of President Biden. 1/3 of the American public do not approve of the way he's handling this. And this is his second major foreign policy crisis. The first one, of course, was departure from Kabul. That didn't work out very well. Yeah. And the president's not handling this one very well.
Yeah, just to interrupt you there, Joe. I mean, if there is inevitability about this, if Putin does end up taking Kiev, what does this mean long term? I mean, he is going to be more of an outcast than he already is. There's going to be these crippling sanctions that are still there. It's him versus the world, really. So, I mean, and there's going to be a big chunk of Ukraine that doesn't want him as leader. How's it going to look?
Yeah, it looks like he's on the ropes, whether he wins or loses. Look, you're right. The sanctions will put him on the outer. I think they're much more effective than some of the critics of the sanctions make out. And he'll probably be moving closer and closer to China. So what happens is, if we have a very sulky Putin on the border of all these NATO countries, we will have returned to the Cold War, which was of course, the reality of my lifetime. The Cold War lasted 1945 to 1991, so we will be entering another Cold War, a Cold War with TikTok and social media and all that kind of stuff going on. And it's going to be a very tense time. I've always thought that it was only a matter of time before something like nuclear weapons are used. Pete, the doomsday clock is 100 seconds to midnight, and I think it probably goes 30 seconds to midnight in the last couple of days.
Yeah, that's a worry. Joe Siracusa, always good to have you with us.
Okay, thank you.
Soon.